brilliant club. But the way they treated players and the way they let players go, and Jaap's not the first or the last that I've heard from. Have you any resentment towards that?
Well, at that time I was furious because you don't expect it. You go to school, you get your English lessons. You think you can talk English, but then you need to speak to a Scotsman.
Or
Scotsman.
him. Yeah.
From Liverpool. Yeah.
Just talk to us about Istanbul.
This is...
What's your story?
No,
It's better than yours. Yip Yap Stam is a big Dutchman.
Get past him if you think you can. Try a little trick and he'll make you look a
Yip Yap, Yap Stam.
Get a big Yip Yap on.
Big Yap.
Yip Yap. He's a great guy. Another great guy.
He's a good lad.
Yeah, he's great. Oh, great lad.
Good lad.
Right, just to give you a thread here so we can keep it on track.
Right.
He won the Dutch Player of the Year. It says here, Footballer of the Year.
And who hasn't?
96, 97.
No big deal.
He said, "Yap in you come, Yap."
How are you?
Just going through your CV.
You good, Yap?
Yeah, good, thanks.
What,
You guys?
what age are you?
good.
Yap? What age are you?
51.
You're younger
Are
than
you?
me. Jesus.
51, unbelievable, eh? Time flies.
Is this our tea here? Is this my tea here? Yep. Jesus Christ. Someone do a drug test out there. I love. Do you like these?
He's amazing.
Is it the raspberry? Are they raspberries?
Are
These
These are not the raspberries, these chocolate ones.
Oh, Gary, you're slacking off.
What with?
We only like the raspberries.
I didn't have one of them. Oh, do you like the raspberry
I've had
ones?
one. I've had one.
Raspberries, like, another level up, lads. Who's anyone listening? This is like championship. We need.
Do you want one of these? Yeah.
Oh, no, thanks.
You're looking well, yeah. What do you do training-wise? You look like...
I just run 3 or 4 times a week.
How far?
Between 10 and 15 kilometres.
Jesus.
Hell, Yap!
Try to be.
Iron Man stuff.
I'd pull my calf if I did that.
I did in the beginning as well, but after
Pull
a
your
while you
calves?
get used to it.
On your own, Yap, or with other...
Yeah, on the treadmill or outside.
I couldn't do it on the treadmill.
The treadmill's...
That's like pain. It's like that...
You ever see me in the gym? You know I'm lost.
But you don't feel like you need to do something.
No, I do. I do hit
The weights.
Hit training.
training. No, I do like the
The 45.
yeah, 45.
45.
Yeah, I do that.
You should go to Barry's.
I used to.
Oh, is that the new thing now? New garlic bread. That was a trend, isn't it? 45 minutes, live an extra 10 years. Fuck.
Roy, you should come with me one morning. I tell you what we should do, next Stick to Football, we'll meet there at, I think,
Where?
in Salford, in Manchester.
Right near your place, yeah.
6:45.
6:40 session or the 7:30 session. We'll meet there and we can do it together.
How long's it
Is that
last?
time in the morning you're talking about?
Is it 45 minutes?
I did it at 6 o'clock this morning.
What's it last? 45 minutes?
45 minutes. Done.
I'm on my second dream of that 6 in the morning.
It's like a circuit, like a...
Okay.
What, with other people? Is there a group of you?
people, yeah, there's a group of people, like 20 people, 15 turn up.
Squats,
20.
press-ups, or...
Yeah, all that sort of stuff. Yeah.
I can't do that.
No? But yeah, you're the strongest man in the world.
No, I don't. I have a back problem.
Oh.
Yeah,
Do anything,
no
then.
wonder.
Everybody carrying around.
People. Yeah, you did right.
That was that midfield, leaving us one-on-one, Jap, all the time.
You remember Keeney when he needed to track back and then he's giving you a bollocking?
Exactly.
Don't run
You're too
back,
deep,
don't
you're too
run
deep.
back,
That was the one in the lot.
You're too deep.
Him and Butty.
always
They're
say-
too deep.
Stay up.
I was coming
Stay
from a
up.
good place, yeah. I was coming from a good... You just check the yards I used to cover, about 16 kilometres.
You just get back and they're saying you get up.
Yeah. He was behind the goal at this stage. He was the worst, Zola. You know, he played against Zola.
Oh.
Zola in behind my back, but obviously they couldn't come out. You arguing over Zola.
Say Del Piero's going into that hole there in that pocket, which he did do at the time. I'm like, I can't go in there because he's going or something else is happening in the box. So you're literally thinking, right, Roy, just block 5 yards that way. You almost want like a little like a joystick.
Yes, just to
do you know what I
move
mean?
him.
But then they think that like they know the position without you controlling them. You know what I mean? And he's just 2 yards right.
all he needs.
Makes all the
Defenders
difference.
go in there now, though, don't they?
Yeah,
They go in now, but then all of a sudden you've... Yeah.
How did I survive all those years?
How many Premier Leagues?
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't. Does it really matter? It doesn't matter. It
Does to Pep.
Let it go, lads. Let it go.
No, don't let it go.
Welcome to Stick to Football, brought to you by Sky Bet. And this week we've got an ex-Manchester United teammate of myself and Roy's, a giant, monstrous centre-back by the name of Jaap Stam. Jaap, welcome to Stick to Football. And
Thank you.
you win the Dutch Footballer of the Year in your first year at PSV in 96-97. And then not far after that, a year or so later, you end up at Manchester United. So what's the first sort of contact you had and what were the first moves made by Manchester United to sign you? Because be honest with you, Jaap, in England, and we used to have this before.
You don't know me. You don't want to know
I didn't say that.
No, to be fair, honestly, we wouldn't probably know you that much.
And not just you. There was a lot of players
coming in there.
In fact, he said, to be fair, who hasn't won the Dutch Player of the Year?
First training session.
It's a public, is it? Anyone can win it. Yeah.
But yeah, because talk to us about how Manchester United comes about. And at the time, it was a big fee for a centre-back, obviously.
It was, yeah. It was the most expensive defender at that time as well. But they came a year before. They phoned my agent and they said, well, they had interest in signing me. And at that time, I wasn't ready, so I
Why?
said,
Why weren't you ready?
well, because I was at PSV, was it 2.5 seasons, more or less. And I wanted to establish myself more in Holland first.
Right.
And I wanted to be like one of the players in the first 11 of the national team as well. And when I went to PSV, I just joined the national team, and afterwards I started playing over there as well. And sometimes I think as a player, you need to get that feeling that you're ready for it. Mm. And after, was it, well, when they showed interest, I signed a new deal at PSV. And then 6 months later, well, I told them that I wanted to go. And I think that's how it goes in football as well. Within a short period of time, you can feel that you're making steps. I felt as well in Holland, while we're talking about the league, it is a league of 3-4 big teams. They can challenge each other. The rest of the league is, well, with all due respect, it's nothing, So there's a big change, and you want to go eventually to a higher level. And then I made the choice to go over, and luckily for me, United kept tracking me, kept following me as well every game.
Was that Sir Alex? Was that Sir Alex speaking to you or watching you? Had he come to watch?
Yeah, he phoned me as well a couple of times. Yeah, during the season as well, after games. Fucking stressful at times. That was Scottish. So that was,
you couldn't understand
that was hard to understand, because in Holland you go to school, you get your English lessons. You think you can talk English, but then you need to speak to a Scotsman.
Or
Scotsman.
him. Yeah.
From Liverpool. Yeah. No, so that was a challenge. No, but he did that. He did that well. And I think sometimes as a manager, if you really want to have a player, and you're really convinced that he can do the business for you and your team,
You've got to tap him up.
Yeah, no, well, I know, no, but I know you can't do that, and I know it's not allowed to. But you need to show in a way, as a club, that you're interested in the player, that you really want to have him.
Who was the player what you played against? You thought, yeah, this is the level I need to be at because this guy's causing me problems.
Did you see his first game? Community Shield?
No.
Yeah, Anelka? Bad game.
Wait.
Is that Anelka?
Yeah. We got beat 3-0.
Yeah.
Arsenal had won the double, if you remember. So the context of Jaap coming to United is that Arsenal win the double.
Yeah.
Wenger's taking over English football. We're a sort of little bit on the down. We'd had injuries the season before. I think, Roy, you'd been injured. Yeah. Pally had got injured in the running. Schmeichel had got injured. I think Giggsy had a bit of an injury. But it was a big summer because we signed Jaap, Jesper Blomqvist to cover Giggsy on the left, which we never had any cover for, and Dwight York. But Jaap was one of the first signings. So the first game was the
Charity Shield. That was a tough game because I think in pre-season it went quite well, quite okay. But then you're playing like smaller teams as well. Mm. So and then the first test was that game, and then you play against the likes of Anelka. Who else played up front?
Overmars.
Dennis was there as well. Yeah. And then you feel, as a player for myself, you feel the difference within the opposition, the quality of the opposition. The physique in the teams, pace that the opposition has, tactically as well, in difference in positioning as well. Yeah, so I had a really bad game, a hard game, tough game, good lesson for myself as well in that game. For me, it was a great eye opener as well in making that next step.
That's what you wanted.
Because that's what you want. You don't want to get beat like that. Because it's hard as well. It's hard to take. Yeah. For me, it was hard to take. To see. You get done at certain times, during the game as well, that you're out of position, you can't get tight. You try to cover the pace of Anelka at times as well. There's nobody next to you to cover you. Everybody is.
I was trying to look after all.
Everybody is stepping up and doing this.
I mean, what was it like coming into that dressing room? You're coming into a dressing room, you've come from, obviously, PSV, but these lads have, won numerous titles, FA Cup.
For me, it felt like starting from zero again. And in the beginning of, to be honest, in the beginning of being at United, the first couple of months, sometimes I wasn't much from all. I was by myself, my wife and kid at home. Because sometimes in the room I thought, what the fuck have I done? No, really, you know.
What, staying at that hotel or?
As well. No, but I mean, you know, you have a comfortable life, you're doing well and everything. You go to a different league, different language, well, a bit similar but different culture. Different people, your family's not there, no friends, so you need to adapt to everything, and it's a big step, and people forget that.
Yeah, they do.
Well.
Yep, you're right. People do forget that.
I want to go to the toilet. Can we do that now?
Yeah, you can go. We'll carry on talking while
Nice
you
one.
go.
Excuse me a sec, fellas.
I think you underestimate
It's what happens
that,
when you
don't
get to 60.
Do you not think, because we've never done it, we've never gone up, obviously I've come from Ireland, but you do take that for granted when a player comes in and he should hit the ground running. But as you said, you're stuck in a hotel with your family, and if the first few games don't go particularly well for a player, but you're thinking, do you know what?
Oh, exactly, because then at the time, like you're saying, you know, people are writing things because you're the most expensive defender at that times as well. People on the streets are talking to you like a waste of money. I'm thinking, what the hell's what's going on over here? You know, you've never had that in Holland. So it goes into your head, you know, with everybody. You can say whatever you want. A lot of people are saying, yeah, no, it doesn't do anything with me. But you're thinking about it when people are saying it.
Did you doubt yourself in those early days?
Yeah, I did at that time, yeah, I did. But then it's it's good that people around you hopefully trust you. You know, the players that you're with, the manager trusts you as well, and that gives a certain comfort. You don't read the papers anymore. You stop reading papers. Well, luckily there was no social media, of course.
But yeah, we always say that we always felt it was a good dressing room. But did you feel it when you first came in? Because sometimes maybe your memory can play tricks in you. Were you comfortable in the dressing room?
I was comfortable. Right? I was comfortable. You know, it's like I said to Jamie, you start from zero. You need to get to know all the guys again. But everybody was very helpful. Yeah. I think the guys saw what I could do in the training sessions. I think that gave them a certain belief as well. But it's clear for a player, I think, when you go and join a big club like United, that you need to prove yourself.
You know, when you come from Holland, and Holland is almost a country where you think, maybe because you go back years, you think of like sort of Johan Cruyff, Rinus Michels, everything's about, 4-3-3, really tactical. Players have got a big opinion on maybe how a team should play. So you've come from that environment. What was it like at United in terms of, a lot of the time these lads will say themselves, we were really attacking gung-ho. How was that for you? How was it different?
I think back in the day when we played, it was probably more difficult than playing now. Because of now even, it's more tactical. Everything's more organised. Everything's more
stopping counter-attacks.
More set up in how you want to attack and how.
Midfield players not leaving you vacant.
No, but in sitting back and in waiting and transition and everything's programmed now as well. And I do that myself as a manager as well. But when we played, I think we were more as a team as well. We were more like we wanted to go forward. We were attacking, everybody was going to barge forward. Sometimes me and Ronnie, we were just 1v1. Gary was up there as well. I could shout at him fucking all I want, but he was just taking off. He didn't want to defend. He was there, So sometimes we needed to defend 1v1 in big spaces.
Yeah.
And nowadays, everything's much more programmed.
Is that what good defenders should be able to do?
You should do. I think for a big team, and if you want to win, if you play higher up the pitch on the opposition, you need to be comfortable playing 1v1s in big areas, in big spaces.
I was thinking that this morning when thinking about you coming here, Jaap. I think you and Ronnie will have been the first centre-backs in Premier League football that were exposed to the levels that you were, where the full-backs weren't there to protect you. Where the midfield, to be fair, run off because they were just not run off in a bad way. They would run off just to go and win the game, win the ball. You were literally left on your own, you and Ronnie. I think you were the first centre-backs that I can remember, and correct me if I'm wrong, because we were built on the Baresi period, the sort of Bruce and Pallister period, the sort of era of back fours being tight together, playing offside, the back five at Arsenal. I think it's the first time that and I think Sir Alex thought he had to go that way from the sort of rigid 4-4-2, because we weren't rigid at all. And I think you're the first two centre-backs that ever played in the Premier League where you were actually asked to defend that level of space. I can't think of before that where it happened. And I think it was a transformation at the time, you and Ronnie doing what you did. I don't know if you think the same.
Yeah, no, probably, yeah. But we were always trying to win football matches, weren't we? We weren't really obsessed with possession or tactics. And I don't know if I'm doing the team a disservice. Ferguson was a gambler, wasn't he? He was a gambler. We're trying to win football matches, and if the lads were at the back 2v2,
you could handle it. To be fair, you and Ronnie.
We could do, and we knew what to do in certain situations as well, and we knew as well that that Roy was going forward, or Scholesy was going forward, and that you guys, you and Dennis, you know, were like bombing on as well to put these crosses in as well. And I think it's, and that's why they came out to me as well, because in Holland we did that, of course, a lot as well. And I like that way of playing as well. You know, it's about your own responsibility, taking your responsibility, doing your job, doing your business. It's a challenge for a player as well, you know, to be on your toes every time. I think it gives you guys as well a little bit more freedom, Roy, at times.
Have you got a bit of protection, yeah?
No, I'm
on your own all the time.
I'm not saying that we're on our own all the time.
One thing they did.
Of course, playing against the likes of Arsenal as well, they had a brilliant team as well. You know, sometimes we needed to drop in, of course, a bit as well.
When was I mean, we won the treble that season, yeah, but when was the first point that you sort of felt during that season that you thought, because it was a bit messy pre-Christmas, do you remember?
I think that was going into the season eventually, because we only lost, I think, 3 games that season.
In the first part of the season, though, all in the first half.
A lot of draws we had, I believe, but you can feel you're sensing, I think, as a player in that season that you're growing, and especially during Christmas time, in the second part of the season, you can feel straight away that everybody was getting scared of us, more or less. We knew that there was always going to be 1 or 2 opportunities, chances that we were going to be scoring, even when the teams were dropping in all the way. We kept on going.
I think for you played us in the FA Cup, and you scored 2, I think, in the last minute. Yeah. And we were just starting with, it was coming out of the Evans area into Gerard Houllier, and we were so weak as a team, physically. So even I would have been probably 21, so I had to mark you. Or if I played Arsenal, I'd have to mark Tony Adams or Duncan Ferguson, what I'm saying. So I remember the equaliser, I think I'm jumping with you and someone else wins it or something. But I always felt that game for yous, and then it was almost that thing of the late goals, and then it just sort of kicked on.
But if you remember that game in particular, again, we're 1-0 down against Liverpool. And Liverpool did have chances, and that's where the gambling was.
Yeah.
Owen got in a couple of times, but it was that bravery to say, listen, if we're going to lose, we're kind of happy to lose 2 or 3-0. That's where Ferguson was really good. He was a gambler, and he'd be throwing wingers on, and we'd be going for it. And a little bit of luck, options off the bench, people like Golly, and you go into it, you win them games, you're thinking, you start getting that, the big word again, we always talk about momentum. We start to get momentum in the second half of the season, getting it over the line in certain games, and late goals. Yeah.
The one thing when you played against United, you always know the last 15, 20 minutes, they're coming with everything. With everything. And I remember it really clearly now. Now that you say, I didn't realise it started with Yap. And
it was always that the full-back would go on the side of the ball, and then the other one that wasn't attacking on that side would stay bound. Right. That was the rule.
Right. We would have been open then, Gary. So no, when you talk about United at the moment, going, they're really open, but we would have the attitude with just say Yap's at the back or whoever. Yeah, we're open. Yeah, deal with it. Yeah, but teams can be open now. And the top Italian teams were going back over the years. I remember watching the great Italian team, and they would leave 2v2 at the back, and they go, "Yeah, we are open." But our lads, we see certain defenders now, we're going, "It's really open." Yeah, but try and deal with that. Yeah. Try and get past us. But a lot of the modern defenders now, it is about shuffling across, 1 or 2 sit midfielders. They're almost not used to doing 1v1s.
I had it in Italy as well. They're very organised. Whatever. They were always like shouting me back, and sometimes I wanted to go forward as well and dribble in with that ball as well. And they were like, "Fucking get back in, stay," because they wanted to like close shop instead of like, okay, deal with it.
Who was that? They would be shouting at you in Italy. Who was you playing with there?
That was in Italy. That was Nesta as well. There was with Maldini as well and Cafu as well. And you know, it was really
even the best need help, don't they?
No, it's all about in the Italians, like especially in defending, they were like really into like okay.
Set it up the right way. You're talking about great defenders in Italy. You played with some at Manchester United. Who was the best defender you played alongside at United?
That was Ronnie. I've only been there 3 years, United. So most of the games I played with Ronnie. Henning was there, of course, as well, different type of defender. But with Ronnie, we didn't need to communicate. We knew what to do in certain areas. When the ball was on the left side, he knew that I was going to go in, you know, and Gary was up there. Maybe, I picked up the man. Ronnie was there, or, giving me a little bit of cover, or he was like marking his man as well. But we always set up the two of us as well, that if one got stepped into the midfield or when the striker was dropping in deeper a little bit, he was going to go tight. I was always taking position. So when that ball was being missed or whatever, or the striker wanted to flick it on, whatever, I could always cover. Even when I had my man, you're always positioning yourself that you can go tight. But when he's losing it, and you're always thinking about your your fellow teammate that he's going to be losing that battle, and that's how you set up. So when he's losing it, I could always cover for him.
Well, the pace helps, doesn't it?
The pace,
of course,
of course. But you need to know, as a player, well, in every position, you need to know your own qualities.
So you
know ability. So if you have pace, if you have a bit more pace, then you can take a little bit more risk.
Of course.
And that's how you position yourself.
So you didn't rate the busy What do you think of them two?
He used to call me and Phil every day.
Is that what you call them?
Me and Phil.
They were like unbelievable.
That was so busy.
I've never experienced that. You know, in Holland it was like always, okay, it was a bit more quiet. And then Gary came in and then Phil joined in as well. It's like unbelievable. They can talk and he can still, well, he
can still talk.
Just at him every day. Like,
was it?
Yeah.
But in a good way, busy did a good way, not in a bad way.
Getting to leaving Manchester United, there was a lot of talk. Obviously, your book comes out. I mean, what was it like with Ferguson at the end? I mean, he talks about it being his biggest mistake, letting you go.
Yeah, it was no good, of course. Yeah, because of that. Well, they used that book as an excuse, more or less, to sell me, because the book was not an autobiography. It was just more of an inside information in how we worked together as a team, you know, as a unit, in the dressing room, and everything. Because we played with Holland a game, well, in Spurs Stadium against England. The book came out in that week, so they sold the rights to the Mirror. And then on the Monday, we were supposed to join up with the national team in London. And then the paper had these, how do you call it, the parts of the book and everything, and they make the headlines and everything. You don't control the headlines. So my wife said in the morning, you know, I'm gonna buy the paper and see what's in there. So fucking hell, she got the paper. She came back home, and we were like, what's going on over here? You know, there was like, I don't know what was there the first day, but it was quite shocking for us. So I phoned Fergie that morning, and I said, you know, listen up. You know, I didn't say that. You know, if you read the book, it's not true. It's totally different. And he told me, yeah, well, you know, don't worry about it. You know, I've had it with my book as well, and. You know, within a couple of days, it's done. It's you know, water under the bridge, and okay, I was happy. Went to the camp with the national team. Was it on the Tuesday, on the Wednesday? His secretary phoned me as well that the manager wanted to talk to me. He got a bollocking over the phone from Sir Alex, and he said, you know, you can't write that, you can't say that. Again, I told him it's not like that. You know, if you read the book, it doesn't say things like that. You know, the headlines, the paper is making it worse just to sell copies, and you know how it goes. So I was like done. You know, I needed to play in the evening, but I was, of course, you know, I was done with all the stress and the tension. And so I said to my wife after the game on the Wednesday, on Thursday morning, first I'm going to go to Fergie. I want to talk to him early in the morning. So at 8 in the morning, I was there. I got a bollocking again in the office. I said, you know, I'm going to go. I'm going to leave.
You said you were going to leave Jaap.
Well, I'm gonna leave now. I'm gonna go back home.
Oh,
the
okay.
office,
leave the office, yeah.
Not leave the club. And he phoned me. No, my agent phoned me in the car. He said, "Where are you?" I said, "Well, I just had a meeting with the manager. Didn't go well. I'm back. I'm going back home now." He said, "They already sold you." I said, "What?" Yeah, they basically agreed already with the club. And he said they're gonna call you. They're gonna phone you. So I hang up. Phone goes straight away. Not even a minute after that, Fergie calls me. "Where are you?" I say, "Oh, you know where I am. On my way back home." And he lived close by. He said, "Well, stop over there, parking spot, and then I'm coming towards you." So he came to me, stepped into my car, told me that they agreed to deal with the club, and he brought in a defender on a free. That was Laurent Blanc, and he wanted to play with Wes and Laurent Blanc. And I told him as well that, you know, well, I don't know if I want to leave, you know, if I want to go to Italy as well, to Lazio. At first he didn't want to say what club it was. Then he said it, but then the relationship is gone, isn't it? Yeah. You know, the feeling is not there anymore. There's you know, it's cracked. And spoke to my wife about it. Just signed a new deal also with United just a couple of months before. I think we played Blackburn after that. He phoned me in the morning. He said, "I'm not going to take you in the squad because of the book, because then a lot of attention goes out to you because of that." And I said, "Yeah, but if you don't take me within the squad, then there's a lot more even more attention. Yeah. You know, why is he not in there?" And then I think the deal's been done within these days. It needed to be done within these 24 hours because otherwise I couldn't play Champions League football anymore. And because of how I am, you know, eventually I wanted to play, but they needed to have that money as well, you know, for the budget. And
do you wish you'd stayed now?
But what budget? Who said they needed what money?
No, at that time, they mentioned it as well. Yeah.
But yeah, to be fair, I mean, it happened so quickly. Obviously, since you know, as Alex Ferguson said, obviously it's a mistake. But it happened. It was a massive shock. Not me. When you said before that you only played for Manchester United for 3 years, it's a travesty, really. That you only played for Manchester United for 3 years. The quality of centre back you were, you're one of the best centre backs that's ever played in the Premier League, let alone at Manchester United. Do you wish that you had just said, "No, I'm staying. I'm going to see this through"? It's part of you, just part of.
Yeah, sometimes I do.
You said that a few weeks ago, Roy, didn't you? That you wish you just said, "No, I'm staying."
Sometimes I do. Sometimes I wished I would have said, "No, I'm not," because you're also curious in what would have happened then at that time as well. You know, when you stay and do you then still get the chance to play
you're
again?
Hurt, aren't you? Yeah, but you're hurt.
No, but that's it. You know, you're hurt. You know, you just, you know, you feel so comfortable over there. You're doing well. You're winning all the trophies. You're being respected. You just signed a new deal. You want to stay for a long time. You know, of course, you need to perform. You know that as well. But then suddenly, from out of the blue, there's this message that they've sold you. And I told them as well that it's not a problem that you get rid of players or you need to sell players. But if they just come up and they say, okay, you know, yeah, there's an offer, we need to have money, we need to agree, we need to accept this offer because of, you know, certain reasons, then you can like it or not. But then at least, you know, they tell you the truth in how things are going. And now it goes in a certain way that you're thinking, yeah, this is not.
Man United, listen, yeah, I've experienced Man United. Great club, brilliant club. But the way they've treated players over the years and the way they let players go, and Jaap's not the first or the last that I've heard from, it's absolutely disgraceful the way they've treated. Listen, Paul Ince, there's loads of others. A lot of these players who probably didn't think they'd done anything wrong, they were good pros and all this, and I know sometimes you have to move players on. That's the game.
Very brutal.
But do you remember walking out of the manager's office and seeing me in the canteen? Do you remember that when I said to you, you don't need to leave? No? Yeah, the muffin, the counter.
Yeah, I know that.
You're the muffin counter.
Yeah.
Gary just eating 4 of them. Gary, you said that. I agree. You said and I said to myself, you didn't have to leave. I said, Paul Ince didn't have to leave. You've got a contract. Other players would probably, I think Ollie had a chance to leave. He said no. But when the manager is like saying that to you and you're so hurt and you're obviously, you got your pride, it's hard to stay.
Does it help you when you hear that he said it's the biggest mistake he's made? Does that help?
Well, does it help? It could have brought me back as well, couldn't he? But afterwards, if you're still one of the best in the world, they don't do that. But going to the next league in Italy, and where you again need to get adjust to everything, but makes it a lot easier because you've already had this experience. You know, you become an even better player, an even better person, I think.
But I think it's strange where obviously the manager will say why you felt he had to move you on, and Ince, and again budget was mentioned. I heard Ince talking about there's new training ground and he was coming through my own situation. From to be like just to treat you like that, do you not think it's so bad? Have you any resentment towards that?
Well, at that time I was furious. Very angry, the people and the family as well. You know, everybody was devastated. I needed to leave, myself as well, because you don't expect it.
Like, do you not think what you think? You see, again, I talk about this justified anger when you feel you've done nothing wrong. You know, even if you thought the book thing and that other players have written book, I felt I'd done nothing wrong. Ince, and then you see players over the last 15, 20 years. I've seen at Man United, even when Ferguson do a lot worse, and the manager would almost just let them off the hook. Whereas there's certain players where I look back going, I thought what we were supposed to have done wrong was very little, yet they're trying to kick you out the door. And there's other players whose behaviour, I think, even when I was there, I'm thinking, it's a disgrace what the other lads are up to. But the manager would go, no, I'll let them off with that. And other players you feel they've done, to me, very little wrong. Yeah. And they're kicking you out the door.
Wow.
No, it is.
It's a joke.
You talk about obviously going to Lazio and then you stay in Italy, don't you? You go to sort of AC Milan, so you've 2 great clubs. But I'm sure it'd be for the same for you. For any defender growing up in our era, AC Milan was almost the team more than probably a Real Madrid. You know, when you were growing up and you think of sort of Maldini, Baresi, the great teams that they had. You mentioned Maldini before. I mean, what was that like going to, you know, a club of that stature with those type of players?
That was great. But again, you go to a team with leaders, with great personalities, great players. And Lazio was a big team at that time as well, but they had so many financial problems, unbelievable. Because I think the owner from Del Monte didn't pay taxes for 20 years. And all the players there needed to be sold. And Nesta was there as well, and Mihailovic was there at the time as well, and Crespo was there, and Simeone was there as well when we played, and Couto was there. So it was a very good team at that time over there as well. But it's you know, and then they sold all these players, and I could leave every year as well. But they always said, no, but next year we're going to do better. You need to stay. I'll say, okay, stay. So I stayed there for 3 years, and after that third year, one year up in my contract, there was Juventus, Inter, and Milan. They all three of them did an offer. I said, you know, the only club I want to go to is Milan, because of the players that are there now. Like Maldini, Nesta was there, Crespo was there, Kaká, Clarence was there, Seedorf, Cafu was there, Shevchenko was there, Inzaghi was there. And because of the Dutch history, a little bit there as well. That's why I wanted to go over there and play.
Wow. Yeah, just talk to us about Istanbul. Yeah, to be fair, honestly. I mean, you kill yourselves that night. You killed us as well.
I mean, okay, listen. This is.
What's your story?
No, but what I'm saying,
it's better than yours.
But I listen. For us, it was obviously unbelievable. Everywhere we go,
humble with it.
No, but everywhere you go, people talk about and you've heard it a million times our story, and I'm always fascinated by, you know, the other side of the story, and because you've just named the players then who you were going to play with. And when you actually look at that team, that photo, sort of our team and their team before the final, and you think of you're almost looking at their team thinking, that's one of the best teams, not of that era, ever. It's like Cafu's probably one of the best right-backs ever. Maldini, one of the best ever. I mean, the midfield, I think, wins the World Cup the year later, sort of Gattuso, Pirlo. You got Shevchenko, I think, then was the best player in the world, maybe best striker. Kaká was about to become the best player. So it's unbelievable. And we were a bang average team. We were.
That's his first correct statement on the over.
You only need 6 minutes, don't you?
Yeah, but what was your feeling about actually before the game playing us? Because when you play in the Champions League final, you'd normally expect probably stronger opposition in some ways. We'd only finished 5th in the Premier League. I mean, you must have been supremely confident going into the game.
I think that's a bit how, I don't know, how Liverpool or fans are approaching a little bit the story from your point of view, I think, or not. In terms of that, maybe we think that Liverpool
the underdog
is a weaker side or weaker players. That is not how we approached it. Because we approached that game very professional, as you might think, with all the players in that team, all the ability that we had in that team. All of them know exactly what can happen in football. So if you're a young player and you're looking at team sheets, then you can think, okay, we're going to beat them. But an experienced player who've been playing so many years at top level football is not going to think going into a game and underestimate the opposition. So our team, and in our meetings with the manager, with Carlo as well, Ancelotti, we never did that. And even during, because there's been talks as well that I've heard as well, and it really disturbs me as well. In halftime, that people are saying that we were already celebrating and stuff like that.
Well, can
you imagine players of this level, this level? Like going into a dressing room, okay, you're 3-0 up, but thinking, oh, fucking hell, we're going to celebrate. You know, it's done. Yeah, but a lot of people outside, they say it.
Yeah.
Probably, but we never, because Ancelotti said it as well, and he made this remark as well. He said, you know, if we can score 3 in 45, the opposition can as well. So we need to be careful. We need to keep on going, you know, and be strong so they don't score. Because if they score one and it
was his team talk, was it? Halftime?
That was in halftime, his team talk. And because if they get one, the confidence is getting back a bit in that team, and that's what happened. Because when you guys scored the first one, the organisation within our team was gone. It was confusion, whatever, and then you did it well, and then eventually, you scored 3 in 6 minutes.
But what you're talking about there, that story comes out, and I think it was one of our players, you know, in the aftermath of the games, probably all excited. The journalists putting, wow. It's not true, because I don't need to be in your dressing room to know that. Because of what you've just said. Maldini's in there, Ancelotti's in there, some of the greatest players of all time. So it was a freak what happened in that game, but it was just a story that I think just got said flippantly after the game, and then it becomes
a big story.
And I thought that was really disrespectful, to use and the professionals and the players that you had in that dressing room.
No, it is, because we knew that. Well, you're talking about yourselves as, okay, you're the team that's a bit weaker than us, but in these games as well, and we know that in finals as well. There's in final, it's always difficult to win.
Anything.
And even when you're ahead and there's still 50 minutes to play, anything can happen. You know that as well. And it's been proven in many games. So we were really of course, afterwards we were devastated.
What are you up to now? Have you still got ambitions to get back into management, or are you enjoying the media stuff?
I enjoy the media stuff. I'm doing a lot of TV work in Holland. I want to go back in management, but depends on the team, more or less. Depends on the club. The people.
Project.
What's that?
The project.
The project as well. Everybody's talking the project now, and it's a project. It's good. I've had a couple of these projects, but they fuck me off. No, but I like to go back in management. But it depends on the team. It really depends on the people that you need to work with. Because I had a couple of jobs in Holland, Feyenoord as well, and I went to America as well. And then you need to work with people that in the beginning they're saying, and well, you guys know as well, in the beginning they're saying, okay, we're going to do this and we back you up, and bringing the right players in, the type of players that you want to work with the right quality, and at the end of the day they do their own stuff. And then you as a manager, you need to work with these players, and you're thinking, yeah, but in how I want to play, in the philosophy of your style, your project, you can't do it. So and that makes a difference. Then you need to change as a manager, or you need to set up the team differently as well. And then, well, you don't really enjoy it.
Why do you want to go back in when you have had them experiences that you've had that you're just talking about?
The frustration. Some of us still need to work. No, but it's just I think it's the challenge as well. And I like being out there. I like working with players, young players as well, to improve them, to make them better as well, and to get a team playing in a certain way as well. I find that interesting.
What about you mentioned that if the right one comes along, how do you know especially when you start speaking to some of these people and they're going to say all the right things?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, you never know really, but it's a feeling as well, I think, when you have a club, you go to a club and you go to the owners and people, and you get a certain impression from them as well that they want to help you out and back you up. And I don't need to step into this level, to the highest level. I can also work in low-level teams. I like to work that as well, as long as we can accomplish something together.
Right.
And you can build something and then make that next step.
That Reading was so close. It's the Reading in moments there at the start of your coaching career. If you could have got over the line with the playoffs with them,
we lost a penalty.
Yeah, I know that.
Yeah, two ahead, and then you're missing, and then you go out. Then you can see that everything's changing. But the danger in that as well, then, with Reading, that you almost go up to the Prem, that the owners are thinking, they sold the club to Chinese owners, and these people are thinking that, okay, you've done the first season that well with these players. In winter and January of the first season, I told them, if you want to keep this up, then next season you need to add extra quality to this team. They always say, we're going to be doing that. There's a big budget to do so. At the end of the day, they still buy or they get players in on a free, or players who've been playing at bigger teams, but they never play. They're always on the bench. So that's the difficulty, I think.
What is it about that management? Is it that drug of sort of... Because what I miss as a footballer is winning. That feeling when you've won a game, you're back in the dressing room. But for a manager, that must be so much greater because you've got such a bigger responsibility. Is that what drives you back, that you just want that feeling?
I think so, isn't it? But it's hard, isn't it? Obviously, it's a lot harder. When you're playing, you look after yourself. The management, you're dealing with all them problems. Jaap just mentioned recruitment, promises from the board. But I think that goes on at lots of clubs.
But you accept that if you're getting that, it's almost that drug at the end of the week, or that feeling.
It's part of the deal, isn't it?
Yeah. If people are saying that we're going to help you out, we're going to be bringing a certain amount of players in with a certain ability, really investing, then you can also accept your loss when they sack you and you don't get the results.
Where's the enjoyment, guys? Where's the enjoyment, man? Because like Jamie's rightly asked, you're going back in. What's the addiction? Your team, you're putting your team out there. They play well, and can you enjoy the win? Can you enjoy the win?
For a short period of time.
half an hour.
There is enjoyment in doing well, in seeing the team growing, you know, in how they play, and even sometimes when you're not winning, you can still see that there's development, that there's progress, and well, that brings enjoyment as well. And eventually, of course, it's all about winning. You know, you come from a certain level, everybody over here as well, that you eventually want to win your games, of course.
Can I just put something to you from an owner's perspective? An owner would say, all managers ever do is ask for more players, and that the players that they've signed have cost a lot of money, and that the recruitment department have got belief in them, and they're being told that this player can be better than they're currently showing, and we can't just ditch them because they're an investment and they're an asset. Where's the balance there, that sort of from the owner's side to the manager's side, whereby you don't feel like you're being lied to, which I think is what you're talking about essentially there. You know, you're talking about, you know, a lack of trust basically between the owners and the manager. But where the owners, you can see that they've put in like maybe £500,000 for a player, 4-year deal or 3-year deal on 170 grand a year or whatever it might be. They've paid maybe £1 million for that player. It's like, just chuck him away. Can you imagine how that is for an owner to hear that?
Of course, you've got to see it from both sides, 100%. Again, you can criticise owners all you want, but sometimes owners do give the manager a back. And if your recruitment's not right, again, when I was down at Ipswich, I brought in players, and I look back, and I deserved the sack. Absolutely, 100%. I thought, could I have done with it a little bit longer? Yeah, of course. But you look at the players I brought in, going, and I didn't win enough games. You go, yeah, that's no blame on the owner for that. Absolutely not. But you hope sometimes when you're going through a difficult spell that you get that back in.
But the players you've brought in, they're your choice as well.
Yeah. Yeah, so you have to take responsibility.
That's when you have no. That's when you have no.
But that's an important one.
Talk to us about the interview. You go for a manager's interview, and what's your pitch? You know, how are you sort of selling yourself to that owner? And secondly, have you ever sat with an owner where you've thought, this is just not for me, or I wish I'd not said yes to them because they're just, to be fair, I knew it at day one?
Well, first they talk. When they invite you, of course, they know what you can do, and probably how you think about football. Then, of course, you explain your philosophy of football, how you want to play. I think you have a list of, not a list of players, but in every position, you explain the players that you need.
The profile of player.
Profile of players. You've already been looking at that club, the players that are there. Do these players fit with you in your style of play? So you talk about that as well. And then I think it's up to the owners and up to you as a manager as well to make your decision. Can we do this? Or can we make something out of this team or not?
Have you turned jobs down where you've not liked the interview?
No, already before. Before going into the interview, that a lot of my agent came and he said, yeah, these teams want to talk to you. And I know how they play and I know the players that they're having there. I say, yeah, but I don't fancy that. I don't want to do that.
There's a lot of people out of work afraid to say no to jobs, and they will go in under any circumstances, even if the contract's for a year, there's no payoff, you can't bring any staff, it depends on the club. But there's that many managers out there desperate for work. They're desperate for work.
Have you ever felt in an interview that you thought that's just not right for me?
Do you know what? Not when I was going for manager, but when I was going in with Martin at Forest, I met the owner. Martin was already in there a few weeks, and we kind of said we'd never work at club level together. International football, obviously, different animal. And I met the owner in London, and as soon as I sat down with him, had a little chat, I should have just walked out. I just wasn't feeling it. He said one or two things to me I wasn't comfortable with, but obviously I had a little bit of loyalty, obviously, with Martin. I thought, listen, I'd go in and try and help out or whatever, even though he'd only been there a few weeks. So yeah, that was a time. Again, that was a coaching job, slightly different in terms of management.
Did you tell Martin you didn't like the vibe?
Yeah, I did.
That's the current owner now, the Greece.
But when I met him again...
What happened in that?
Do you know, we were talking about the contract situation. He spoke about me going in with Martin. I said, well, obviously, I'm not comfortable with the contract. She said, well, basically along the line is, you've got enough money. That was a comment thrown at me. Wow. I actually said,
nice.
It's not about, when you say it's not about the money, but I always say to people, it's about your self-worth, what you think you're worth. So when he said that to me, I should have just said, you're not for me, and gone out. Yeah. But I had Martin in the back of my mind. I thought, no, listen, I've obviously huge respect for Martin, so I'll kind of get over that little hurdle with the owner. And obviously I still went in there. But then you sit down with the club, you can have all those positive chats. I think I was asked a couple of years ago, and I spoke to one or two clubs, and a club offered me a job, maybe, I don't know, maybe 2 years ago. And it's all great, it's all positive and good feedback, but then they could give you an offer, you go, no, I cannot sign that contract, I can't. Thank God I'm not that desperate or that I need to sign it, because again, I go back and I always say to people, you have to have a bit of self-worth, what you think you're worth to a club.
There's so many pitfalls, man.
Oh,
It just feels like, where's the joy?
No, you're not going to get right. Listen, I'm not in a position where someone's going to offer you a 4 or 5 year deal and you can bring 10 staff, which of course, but you've got to give yourself a bit of a chance, because I always think if you sign any contract, and I see managers doing it all the time now, they're desperate, they sign a deal. I always think as soon as you go in and you've signed a deal that's basically rubbish, what they must be thinking of you. They must be thinking, like, this guy, he's signed for anything. Listen, he's got no bargaining power for anything in future, whether it be recruitment, or we can get rid of him when we want, because a contract literally means nothing.
So yeah, let's move away from management, because it gets us down a little bit. It gets you down a little bit as well. Yeah, Manchester United's current status. And obviously you've got a Dutch manager that you'll have seen, obviously, in Holland, Erik ten Hag, who played some of the most beautiful football, did great things with Ajax in the Champions League and obviously in the league. What do you make of what's currently happening at Manchester United under him, and sort of what do you make of his tenure so far?
I think the first season he's done very well in terms of getting trophy, final, Champions League spot. Not about his way of playing even the first season, because it's more from transition. It's not in how we know how Ten Hag wants to play, possession based, but a lot of movement going forward, dominating on the opposition's half. They haven't done that. So first season good, second season. Now you're thinking, is he going to make progress with that team? You're hoping, by getting players in, making progress in his way of playing. Still hopefully getting the results, but at least see more of his style of play in what he's been doing in Holland and in the Champions League as well with Ajax.
That's the bizarre thing for me, that Postecoglou and De Zerbi and other managers going at other clubs, and the style of play becomes evident within 3 months, and you can see what they're doing. No Manchester United manager, probably since Louis van Gaal, and we'll touch on him shortly. So when Jose came in, Ole came in, now Erik ten Hag's coming. Why can't Erik ten Hag put his style of play into a team that had £400 million spent on it?
Wow. Yeah, that's a difficult one.
Because you have respect for his manager as a coach.
I've got respect for him in what he's been doing in Holland last season as well with United as well. I think he's a good coach, and I'm wondering this myself as well. That's why via Play was a couple of months we asked this question as well to him, and it was in the press as well everywhere. Like, when are we going to be seeing this style of play that he's been doing with Ajax? And he made a certain comment about that.
He can't achieve it here, or he don't want to do it here, something like that.
Yeah, he mentioned that he can never play the same way like Ajax over here, something like that. That's what he said.
But
I believe. No, but I'm surprised as well, because I've seen De Zerbi, I've seen, of course, Tottenham as well, in how they're playing. It's got to do with your players as well, but he invested a lot of money in players.
The players that he brought.
Yeah. But are they the right players? To my opinion, not.
So who are you talking about there? So let's go through the players he signed. Antony
is, I don't think in what I've seen from him and how he is not good enough for this level that we're looking for at United. Because you're also looking for a player that when he comes in, he can struggle, he can have a difficult time, but you're still looking in a player and where is he going to be making progress so he eventually can get to that certain level. And then when you're looking at Antony now, at this moment, yeah, you don't really see where he.
But in Holland,
you don't really see where he can make the progress to make that next step into the Premier League, or to be up there with the top wingers to make a difference. In Holland he did okay. In Holland it wasn't like he was the best player in Holland. He did okay for Ajax that time, but then again they're playing in a league of a couple of good players, and the rest of the teams, with all respect, mediocre players.
So by the fee.
They're always dominating. He can always do his trickery. He can always put these crosses in or make a 1-2 or whatever. But at this level, and that's up to recruitment together with the management owners as well. Yeah, you need to make the right choices in bringing the players in that can really make a difference in the Premier League.
But Erik ten Hag brought Antony in.
Yeah.
Were you surprised by the fee, 90 million?
Oh yeah, I was. Yeah.
What would you have paid for him?
No,
I'm just saying, from
No, but I don't know. How can I say, what I would have paid for him?
Lisandro Martinez as a centre back.
Yeah, he's a good player. He's got a great mentality as well. He's very good on the ball as well. but also he needs to step up as well. Had a reasonable season. His first season did okay. He's still not the quickest, so you need to be careful with him as well. You know, in very big spaces. I think that's been exploited a couple of times as well. Yeah, going into battles, you know, in the air as well. He's at times can be vulnerable as well. But he's got a great mentality and he is a good player. And if you want to play in a certain way and you want to play possession-based football, then you need to have players who can do so.
Can I go back to this sort of way of playing? Because when we say there's no style of play, there is a style of play, but it almost feels like what we were doing probably 20 years ago. You sort of wait for moments, you know, transition.
Oh, but you're looking in how he wants to play, because I think that's why they took him.
Yeah.
They took him. They took Ten Hag as a manager because in how he played in the Champions League and with Ajax.
My point is, I think when Ten Hag, you go back to the very first game he played was against Brighton at home, and then they went to Brentford away, and it was like trying to play what we'd expect, Dutch football, Ajax football. I think he brought Eriksen in almost to build up as a holding midfield player, and it went massively wrong. Then he played Liverpool, and that was like a massive performance. And the season morphed into a case of almost, we haven't got the players to do what I want to do. I'm going to play this way for now to get me through. That's what it felt like to me last season. And it got them through. Yeah. And I always remember them playing against Man City and Arsenal at Old Trafford, and both teams dominated possession, and Manchester United won on the counter-attack. And I said it at the time, brilliant, you know, really good tactically, set them up, but eventually Ten Hag will want to do what Arsenal and Manchester City are doing with the ball. So I think we all expected that this season. But I remember speaking to you, you know Manchester United better than anyone, and you were almost, I remember speaking to you last season, you made a comment to me that I thought, you were almost of the opinion that, does he need to change because this is almost Manchester United, a bit like, you know, like maybe playing counter-attack pace in the wing. I remember having that conversation. Do Manchester United need to have this sort of big build-up that other teams have? Are you still believe that?
No, I just look at the system of play. I don't see any difference between what Erik Ten Hag's doing, what Ole did, and what Mourinho did in terms of playing in moments, counter-attack, pouring possession in big games, losing away from home. Sometimes I think Mourinho and Ole's records away from home against big teams were better, but the patterns are there from where sort of they played. Louis van Gaal did implement it was a Dutch style of play. It was the Ajax style of play, Barcelona style.
But it wasn't Man United, was it?
It wasn't Man United, and I didn't enjoy it that much, but he did instill a style of play straight away. And the players all played, and they were, to be fair, they could pass it, no doubt about that. I look at this team now, I'm really surprised. Are you surprised by what you're seeing?
I am, yeah. I expected a lot more in a way of playing.
And what do you think the end game is here? Where do you think this ends? I mean,
I don't know.
Could you say Man United been too big for some of the players? Obviously, whatever about styles of play, maybe the move for the lads you said about the standards in obviously Holland. Sometimes it's a fact lads have gone to Man United and it's just too much for them. Simple as that. They just can't deal with the expectations.
But those signings, Roy, have come from the manager. Well, those ones from Holland have come from the manager.
Yeah. But obviously, as a manager new to the league, maybe he got it wrong and thought, listen, I thought these would adapt quicker and better. And clearly they haven't. As you said, it's
always for a manager, and I've done it a couple of times myself as well, but you need to be careful. But it's always that if you want to play in a certain way, you're looking at players that you have been worked with in the past, so they can help you out in playing in a certain way. Ten Hag has done that as well. But you need to be careful, because you also need to look at the league and where you're at the time and where you're going to, if they then can bring the same level of playing. And now with players that came in, you see that a lot of players are struggling in bringing that level. Because it's not only about the technical ability, it's about physique, it's about you need to have legs to run up and down the pitch. You know, you need to be clever as well mentally, you need to be strong as well. So the whole package needs to be there if you want to perform, if you want to go to a certain level. And if you're looking at the players that are at United now, then it's hard to find within the whole squad. It's hard to find players that you're thinking, okay, this player is for sure gonna make it to the highest level.
Do you think he's in trouble?
I think he's. Well, I have a feeling that if you see everything that's happening, even now, even with the press and everything,
he's got to be worried, huh?
Well, you got to be worried. You got to be thinking about what's going to happen now, because you can ban players, you can do anything. It's also about man management, of course, as well, and how to work with players, how to handle players. There's now the the Ronaldo thing, the Sancho thing, the Varane probably. I don't know if something happened over there now. The thing with the press now and banning journalists from the press conference as well. It doesn't work in your favour, I think, as a manager, if that all happens, because you need to have peace and quiet. You don't never have peace and quiet, but you need to have things going, and you don't want to pay too much attention to other things, to players and to press or whatever. You need to fully focus, and I don't think you don't want to, as a manager, you don't want to talk about players, or you don't want to talk about what players do find about you as a manager. So I worry a little bit for him, and that's why it would be good if he gets a result.
Yeah, we want to ask you a question. The best centre-backs in Premier League history, and I'm going to name some. So I'm put Vincent Kompany, John Terry, Nemanja Vidic, Rio Ferdinand, Jaap Stam, Steve Bruce, Gary Pallister. Anyone else to throw
Tony
in?
Adams.
Tony
man.
Adams.
Van
Tony
Dijk.
Adams, Sol Campbell,
Van Dijk.
Virgil van Dijk. There's just 10 off the top of my head.
So he's got to pick two from them.
No, he's got to pick a centre-back partner to play alongside him.
It's better that you pick one for me. It's better that you guys pick one for me.
No. Who would you like to play with, Jaap? Who's the one that you thought, what a centre-back he is?
No, but from Jaap's point of view, Jaap's got...
Well, you pick one then, I'm happy for you to pick as well.
If I got Jaap Stam, I'd put Tony Adams next to him. I'd put Tony Adams. No, not just because, obviously, he's my captain, he's great and everything, but...
Is that because they push training back for you?
No, because I know with that capability, with Jaap, with his size, with his pace, with his footballing ability, with someone like Tony next to him, I wouldn't be obviously as quick as him, but his organisation, his leader, I think that would be formidable.
I'd go John Terry and Virgil van Dijk.
What about you? Playing back three? No, He's just been dropped. I got shit on the bench.
Thanks for that.
So who you got next to Jaap?
Oh, he's definitely playing.
Yeah, he's definitely playing.
He's playing.
He's going to put himself in now.
Jeez.
I would go Van Dijk.
Yeah, that'd be smooth. Who would you go with? Rio would be brilliant next to him as well, to be honest.
Do people forget about Sol Campbell a lot, don't they? Do you think Sol was that good, lads?
Sol was good.
Sol
was, yeah.
Sol.
Again, yeah, he's another one because of what Jaap's capable of doing. You can have someone like Sol. It's not so great on the ball and everything, but the other.
I think I'm going to go John Terry.
With Jaap Stam?
Yeah.
Who are you going with, Joaquin?
I'm going with you.
No, I don't want to play next to Jaap. I could get away with playing next to Jaap.
I'm going with you.
Tony Adams.
You're going to go with Tony Adams? Tony Adams, yeah. Yeah, Tony Adams and Jaap Stam.
And Jaap, you've got to pick one. You've got to pick a partner out of the Premier League greats to play alongside. Who's the best Premier League centre-back in your mind to play alongside you?
I don't know.
To finish this show off.
I find it hard.
Who do you
Come on,
admire?
Jaap.
Everybody's
Come
got his
on,
own
Gary played with you for a few months. That's when we lost them 3 games all season.
I keep it Dutch.
I knew it.
Nice.
One of us sweet.
You're going for Van Dijk?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It'll be a good pair. It'll be a formidable pair.
It
Unbelievable.
would be, I think, a good partnership. I like the other ones as well, but I think Virgil is a very good player.
Can I ask you about Van Dijk, because it feels when he goes
No.
Go on, Jay.
it feels like he gets. I only read reports, but for the Dutch national team, seems like he gets a little bit of criticism, like sort of Van Basten and maybe
They're thinking communication, his coaching, he's not doing enough.
Okay.
His leadership, you mean?
His leadership, on the pitch. They think he needs to do more, especially when the team's not playing well. That he needs to be the one to tell the players what to do and put them in position so they can make a difference.
Is that fair?
They say he's not doing that. I don't know. I find that hard to see on the pitch. From television, what are the games that I'm seeing? It's hard to. Sometimes you're looking at a defender as well in his coaching, in what he's doing. I think he's trying to, but I don't know. I don't know if it's fair, to be honest. He's of a certain age. I still think there's if you can talk about improvement, certain things that he can improve or can do differently.
What would they be?
That is positioning. I think at times he's making it difficult for himself, that he needs to chase, or he doesn't want to chase, or he's stepping up, trying to put players offside. And we spoke about it in the beginning. If his positioning is a little bit better, so he covers a little bit or he steps a little bit more back, then he can solve a lot of things, I think, for himself and for his teammates as well. So you don't get done in transition on the counter.
Yeah, great to speak to you.
Thank you,
Ian,
guys.
Roy,
Thank you.
Cara, great to speak to you. Enjoyed that episode, and we'll see you again next week.
Can we make a picture? Where's Ian?
Yeah, Stam is a big Dutchman.
Get past him if you think you can. Try a little trick and he'll make you look a prick. Yip, yap, yap, Stam.